Benjamin, thanks so much for being with us. I mean, how much confidence do you have that this vaccine Russia says it has could prove a functional, life-saving vaccine?
I guess there's no guarantee that it won't be functional, but right now what we can be sure of is that corners are being cut. I think a colleague at the SMC in the UK put it best that we probably shouldn't allow vaccine development to become our de facto standard for the scientific prowess of a nation. But it seems as though that's what is happening here. The positive sides of this are that Russia apparently has at least 3 different versions of the vaccine on the go, and they're similar to things that are being tested around the world. So at least in principle, they ought to have similar effects. However, what it comes down to is exactly the procedures you use in the lab, because a little bit of a contaminant of some sort could really change the outcome of this. And it may not be as much of an issue in Russia, but trust is going to be a very big issue, I think, in most parts of the world. And as scientists, you essentially have one chance to retain and basically deserve that trust. And if there's a high-profile mistake, if there's something that does go wrong, this could really set back vaccine efforts, particularly in countries like the US, where there's a fairly strong anti-vaccine push already. Paradoxical as it seems.
Yeah, the anti-vaxxer lobby has become very loud over the last few years in particular. Let me ask you, though, I mean, so third phase trials obviously haven't been conducted. That would take a certain time frame, and Russia doesn't want to wait that long. So what could potentially happen to patients who take this vaccine? I mean, could it be worse than COVID-19 itself?
This is what we don't know. I think the total data is for something like less than 40 people so far. And the problem is when you're only testing a small number of people like that, there's actually a lot of diversity out there in terms of the number of people and the different genetic combinations that they can pose. A host's genetics, like your personal genetics, actually plays a big role in whether a vaccine is going to help, or there are even some possible scenarios where it could hurt. I don't think we necessarily have to go there, and I guess we should point out that the Chinese government are doing something similar. They are giving limited approval to a similar adenovirus-based vaccine while the phase 3 trials are still being started. I think that one's going to be more for military use, but still, we're taking risks, and that doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to go badly. But it means that a lot of the usual safety precautions are not there. And it kind of depends on a country and a people's tolerance for that kind of risk, what sort of strategy will actually fly.
Right. You know, it almost sounds like certain members of the Russian community, let's put it that way, might be being used as guinea pigs, because apparently tens of thousands of Russians have volunteered to take this vaccine. That in itself could actually be the phase 3 trial, even if it isn't done under lab monitoring conditions.
Yes, essentially, yeah. A phase 3 trial is just an expanded version of a phase 2, which is an expanded version of a phase 1, and you're looking at outcomes all the way along. And at every step of the trials, you have to bring in that safety data. You have to show some measure that the thing is actually working. I think you may find people in any country who would step up and say, sure, give me the vaccine, because among other things, the vaccine offers hope, and hope is a powerful thing, and hope is a thing we haven't had a whole lot of so far. So I understand it. It's a very human reaction to want to try something, no matter how unproven. But at the same time, as scientists, we'd normally consider that we have a duty to, above all other things, do no harm, essentially. And that is the duty that we may be shortchanging here. We just won't know until a larger test is rolled out. So it's a gamble, and we don't know if it's going to pay off or not. It could go either way right now, but it's always safer to actually follow through the procedures as they are drawn up.
Okay, Benjamin Neuman joining us there. Thanks so much for your insights.